consider intervening?
Well, I really worry about the New Zealand dollar hitting more than 88 cents this morning and continuing to go up. What that does is put our export industries under real pressure, and that means a loss of jobs. We can ill afford to lose jobs. I was talking to the timber industry the other day, and one of the CEOs said to me that he thought that if we hit 90, that could lead to the closure of just about every sawmill in New Zealand. That's an example of how serious it is.
Is it time to intervene?
Well, the Reserve Bank independently has to make that judgment. It's not for politicians to tell them under the existing law. What we'd do is change the law to broaden the objectives of the Reserve Bank and to give them legitimacy around other tools other than simply interest rates.
So we need to go even further than that, though, and look at other aspects of currency dealing, such as perhaps a tax on hot money coming into the country. Would Labor consider something like that?
Well, we haven't put that forward. I know that's something that other countries like Brazil and Chile are currently operating. That's something that might be given consideration in the future, but it's not formally part of our policy at this point.
Another option would also be compulsory savings, which would mean that hot money isn't needed from overseas, because we'd have domestic deposits enough to pay for housing, mortgages and all that.
Well, I'd like to see New Zealand move towards a situation of universal saving, absolutely. If we'd kept the Kirk Fund back in the 1970s, we would have hundreds of billions of dollars to invest in New Zealand's future. The difficulty we have at the moment is that there are a whole lot of New Zealanders that are struggling just to meet the day-to-day bills that actually don't have the ability to put money aside for savings. You'd have to overcome that problem.
So would you like to work? The US decision today to reach a deal over their debt crisis will mean for New Zealand?
Oh, look, I think that it's a great thing that they've reached a compromise. I believe that that's always where they were going to get to. They couldn't afford to damage their own economy, but if they had damaged their own economy, that would have had implications right across the world. The US is a third of the global economy, and the last thing New Zealanders need is to see their interest rates going up on top of all the other pressures they have on the rising cost of living.
So would you like to see a compulsory savings regime? Is that what you were saying?
No, I'd say ultimately I'd like to see New Zealand move towards having a universal savings scheme, but there are a lot of problems to overcome before you can get to that point.
So a compulsory savings scheme won't be put forward by Labor at this election?
Well, we haven't announced our policy yet, so you're just going to have to tie-ho on that and see what we come up with.
But will it be compulsory?
Well, you'll just have to tie-ho on that, as I say. I'm not announcing our policy on that here today.
So you won't rule out introducing a compulsory superannuation?
How many times do I need to say I won't be ruling it in or out until we make the announcement of the policy? That's how it's done.
Isn't KiwiSaver a universal scheme?
It was universally available, but it wasn't universally taken up. I mean, it was a great start. It's 1.7 million people who are KiwiSavers.
So in order for things to be universally taken up, you'd have to make it compulsory, wouldn't you?
You've got a number of different options.